eschatology, as revealed to Daniel. What we're going to see now is as Daniel lives, among kings, this revelation becomes deeper and more pointed. So let's look at this. Daniel, actually, if you would look at your paper, in chapter 7, this is from Daniel chapter 2, now in chapter 7, this is what happened. Daniel said, I had a vision at night. He was sleeping and he had a dream. I looked up and saw 4 winds of heaven. They were stirring up the Mediterranean Sea. In other translation, the Great Sea. This was really a puzzle to me because my translation wasn't the translation I was reading right now. It says in there were 4 winds in heaven. Hinahalukay yung dagat. It was they call it the Great Sea, but the real translation is Mediterranean Sea. In the first year of King Belshazzar, okay, this is Daniel 7. The first king who gave the revelation, who received the revelation, was King Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, King Nebi came and went; he's gone. So Belshazzar came in as king of Babylon. On the first year of that king, he had a vision while he was lying down in his bed, and he saw those beasts in there. In my vision at night, I looked, and there before me were 4 winds of heaven churning up the great sea. 4 beasts, each different from the others, came out of the sea. The first was like a lion. It had wings of an eagle. I watched until its wings were torn off. It was lifted from the ground so that it stood on 2 feet like a human being, and the mind of a human was given to it. And there before me was a second beast, still coming from the same ocean, which it looked like a bear. It was raised on one side. It had 3 ribs on its mouth. Between the teeth, it was told, "Get up and eat your fill of flesh." After that, I looked, and there before me was another beast, one that looked like a leopard. On its back, it had 4 wings like those of a bird. The beast had 4 heads. It was given authority to rule. After that, in my vision at night, I looked, and there before me was a 4th beast, terrifying and frightening and very powerful. It had large iron teeth. It crushed and devoured its victim and trampled underfoot whatever was left. It was different from all the former beasts. It had 10 horns. While I was thinking about the horns, there before me was another horn, a little one, which came up among them, and 3 of the first horns were uprooted before it. This horn had eyes like the eyes of a human being and a mouth that spoke boastfully. As I looked, thrones were set in place, and the Ancient of Days took his seat. His clothing was white as snow, the hair of his head was white like wool. His throne was flaming with fire, and wheels were all ablaze. A river of fire was flowing, coming out from him. Thousands upon thousands attended him, these are angels. 10,000 stood before him. The court was seated, and the books were opened. Then I continued to watch because of the boastful words the horn was speaking. I kept looking until the beast was slain, its body destroyed and thrown into the blazing fire. The other beasts have been stripped of their authority, that they were allowed to live for a period of time. In my vision at night, I looked, and there before me was one like a son of man coming with the clouds of heaven. He approached the ancient of days and was led into his presence. He was given authority, glory, and sovereign power. All nations and peoples of every language worship him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion that will not pass away, and his kingdom is the one that will never be destroyed. Now here's the interpretation. Verse 15, I, Daniel, was troubled in spirit, and the vision that passed through my mind stirred me. I approached one of those standing there and asked him the meaning of all this. So he told me and gave me the interpretation of this thing. The 4 great beasts are 4 kings that will rise from the earth. But the holy people of the Most High will receive the kingdom, will possess it forever. Yes, forever and ever. Then I wanted to know the meaning of the 4th beast, which was different from all the others, the most terrifying, with its iron teeth and bronze claws. The beast that crushed and devoured its victim and trampled underfoot whatever was left. I also wanted to know about the 10 horns on its head, about the horn that came up before which all 3 of them fell, the horn that looked most imposing, that the others and that he had eyes and mouth that spoke boastfully. As I watched this horn, was waging war against the holy people and defeating them until the Ancient of Days came and pronounced judgment in favor of the holy people of the Most High. And the time came when they possessed the kingdom. He gave me this explanation. The fourth beast is the fourth kingdom that will appear on earth. It will be different from all the other kingdoms that will devour the whole earth. And will devour the whole earth, trampling it down and crushing it. The 10 horns are 10 kings who will come from this kingdom. After them another king will arise, different from the earlier ones. He will subdue 3 kings. He will speak against the Most High and oppress his holy people and try to change the set times and the laws. The holy people will be delivered into his hands for a times and a half, which is 3.5 years. But the God will sit and his power will be taken away and completely destroyed forever. Then the sovereignty, power, and greatness of all the kingdoms under heaven will be handed over to the holy people of the Most High. His kingdom will be an everlasting kingdom, and all rulers will worship and obey him. This is the end of the matter. I, Daniel, was deeply troubled by my thoughts, and my face turned pale, but I kept the matter to myself. So we see here, actually, the interpretation of the beast is similar to the man. When he saw the lion, this is actually symbolic of the kingdom of Babylon. When he saw the bear was actually in the picture. He was lying on the side. Hindi to picture. He had a barbecue meat. This is symbolic of the succeeding kingdom, which was the Medo-Persian Empire. The Medo-Persian Empire are 2 empires that merged together. The empire of the Persian is stronger than the Medo-Persia, the Medo Empire, and so it's leading to the left. Eventually, Persia took over the Medo Empire. The next one is actually very interesting because it's a leopard with 4 heads. And this is symbolic of the Greco-Macedonian Empire after the Medo-Persian Empire. Alexander the Great came up at the age of, I think, 32. He was able to conquer the whole known world at the time. Bata pa siya, he was able to conquer that. But he died of a fever. Imagine that. He did not die of anything, like an explosion or something. He died of a fever. And when he died of a fever, there were 4 generals. Remember the 4 heads? And the Bible said, and they were given authority to rule. After his death, he has no child that could, well, he had one, but it's so tiny that he cannot be a king. 4 of his generals took over and became the 4 heads of the leopard. You see that? It's like, wow, amazing. And that would be Ptolemy, and then Antigonus, Cassander, and Lysimachus. Now, if you would look at your history in the Bible, the Lord is no longer interested about this, because they are not particular to the area of our interest in prophecy. You would see that Ptolemy actually was the one that took over the part of Egypt. The next one will be Antigonus. Antigonus was controlling Syria and Babylonia, but Seleucids came up, and eventually they became the Seleucids. This is in preparation of the Hasmonean Empire eventually. Now we can see here that after that, Daniel also had a dream. On his dream, actually, on his vision, after the 3rd beast, will be this ugly-looking beast. A lot of people actually try to describe this beast, but when my son saw this, he said, "Tata, I cannot look. I think this will be the beast then." It says that there will be 10 horns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it has these claws of bronze. And he came from the Mediterranean Sea also. And then, according to the Bible, he has 1 horn that actually can talk. 10, 1 horn came up, 3 fell down, and this is blasphemous was talking. And then while he was talking and blaspheming God, the court in heaven sat down with the Heavenly Father and decided against him, and he was thrown into the lake of fire. And the Bible said the rest of the 3 beasts were taken out of commission, but they were left alive. Because we will see later, eventually in Revelation 13, the Bible said, again a beast will come up that was wounded. And they were surprised, oh, how come you're alive? And we'll go there some other time. Okay. So we see here, Babylon is this one. Medo-Persia will be the bear, left and right arm. Medes and the Persians. The Greco-Macedonian kingdom will be this bronze, and this is actually the Roman kingdom that came up and will eventually be killed and come back again. This is what you hear when you're studying eschatology about the resurrected Roman Empire. Now, it's interesting to note that the Roman Empire actually is not just one. The Roman Empire split into two. Kaya nga, yung image of the man that Nebuchadnezzar saw has two legs, left and right. The Roman Empire is split into two, east and west. The west is based on Rome, and eventually was sacked around 400 BC by a lot of the barbarians, the German tribe and everything. They were gone. But for almost another 1400 BC, AD, I'm sorry, the eastern side of the Roman Empire, based in Turkey, under the capital is Constantinople, existed, which is what we call the Byzantium Empire. Eventually, the Ottoman Empire took over. But what's interesting is God, through these visions, you can actually trace them as, oh my God, look at that. He is awesome. And all these messages, remember I've been saying the prophecy is our inheritance. They have come and gone. The prophecy is for us. So we need to understand, because if you don't know what it is, the Bible said the season of his coming will come, and your mouth will be like open, like, what are we going to do? It is our responsibility as leaders, as teachers, to tell you about this, that in history it has been exact all the time, and it's coming. Now remember the beast, he will come back. Like MacArthur, I shall return. Now, I want you to look at this map. The darker ones are water bodies. This is actually the Babylonian kingdom. The Babylonian kingdom is centered of this is what we know now. The Babylonians are called the Iraqis, yung Iraq, and this is how big their kingdom was before. Okay, they have taken over Jerusalem. We know that they were able to exile Daniel and his buddies up to for Nebuchadnezzar to teach them. Now look at this next kingdom. The Medo-Persian Empire. After Babylon, the Medes and the Persians came together and took over, and look at this. This is the Mediterranean Sea. This is Jerusalem. This is the Mediterranean Sea, and there's Jerusalem. And this is the kingdom. Look at the next one. The Greeks under Alexander came in. Greco-Macedonian Empire. This is where he came from. He took over Persia, Babylon, Palestine, and Alexander in Egypt. And again, the Mediterranean Sea. That is why when Daniel saw the beast, it came out of the Great Sea, which is the Mediterranean Sea. The origin of all the kingdoms were coming from the Mediterranean basin. It's not the Atlantic, it's not the Pacific. I wish it wasn't the Pacific, because I still believe that Philippines should come up sometime. Like Pacquiao. No, it's not. And look at the Roman Empire. It's still there. Can you see that? Although it has extended into the Atlantic, but then let me tell you, remember, the Roman Empire split into two. There it is. From Istanbul, Constantinople, it's divided. This is the west, and that's the east, again, the Mediterranean area. So in the geography of prophecy, we need to understand that just as Pacquiao fought his nemesis in China, Pacquiao cannot fight him everywhere. There is one place. And God is saying in the last days, the prophecies that I'm telling you will be in that area where I have always participated, or I have always raised the kingdom. Have you heard about ISIS? You know what it means?
Islamic State.
Come on, you got 50% of it. Of Iraq and Syria. Now, the White House calls it ISIL. If you're listening to the news. Now, don't feel like you're holy because you don't listen to the news. You need to listen to the news. Because the Bible said, watch. If you're not, no, I'm not watching, I'm texting. That's not, you're making the news. You have to know what ISIL means. It is Islamic State of the Levant. It's a Levant. I don't know if you've heard about the word. Levantine region. Who knows about this? Come on,